Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic:
Ex-partners who got the "it's either X or me" ultimatum and chose X. What happened? An ex wanted me to give my sons away. My 12-year-old sons. We'd only been dating a couple of months, but he told me if we lived together my sons would have to go live with the grandparents. Because he didn't want his daughter living with teenage males. Because they would rape her. Because that's what men do. Edit, my ex was a man. He believed all men are rapists. Not me. Well, if that ain't a GTFO of this relationship exchange, I don't know what is. Wow. My uncle, who never wanted kids, married a very beautiful, if somewhat cold, widow many years ago. Several months into the marriage he started getting letters from a little girl. Came to find out she was his wife's 9-year-old daughter from her first marriage. The wife had never mentioned having a daughter, and had apparently shipped her off to boarding school when she was 7. The poor girl was kept there year-round and almost never got to see her mother. She begged him to let her come home and see her mom. My uncle confronted his wife and ended up letting the child come for a visit. She was such a scrawny, depressed child, his heart broke for her. She pleaded with him not to send her back. The wife didn't want her in the house. He ended up threatening divorce if she didn't show a little kindness to her own daughter. The girl is now grown and still close to my uncle. She sees him as, well, an uncle, but barely interacts with her mother. Because that's what men do. Bro is literally a male and he's thinking that. ? Certainly calls into question what he would do if he thought he could get away with it. I gave my ex an ultimatum. She could either be my girlfriend and a mother to her daughter, or she could be her teenage daughter's drinking buddy. I left 5 years ago. You're safer with me drinking at home than out on the streets, mom. That's what my mom said. Almost 20 years later I'm clawing my way back from raging alcoholism and taking care of her with her medical problems. One of my exes came at me with the whole, "it's me or the dog" ultimatum. Lady, if you try and force a guy to choose between you and his dog, you will not like the answer. I was in the room when my friend's GF said it was her or the dog and he just said, "Okay then, I'll help you pack," and just stood up and started collecting her things from around the room. I stepped out when the argument really started, but she never stood a chance after that. Something similar happened when I was in high school with a buddy and his girlfriend wanting him to quit the garage band. I laughed so hard I was crying, and when I could catch a breath I told him to find me after and left the room. They didn't officially break up that night, but it was maybe a week later. Sorry Scotty, I know she was hot, but she was obviously dumb. I came here hoping for people to be talking about their pets and I am very happy. You're out of your fucking mind if you think I'm going to abandon my poor cat who loves and depends on me, because you're a miserable controlling bitch. Edit, I wrote car, I meant cat. Herbie the love bug is always the priority. So many people ask me if I would ever choose my dog over my wife. My response was always the same: if she didn't like my dog, she never would have been my wife in the first place. Exactly, wife, not even dating at the time, was passing through my hometown while I was home for the weekend. My lab lived with my mom while I was away at school and I asked if she wanted to come meet her. I'm a huge dog lover. At the time I told her if the lab didn't like her then we wouldn't have gotten married or started dating. Shushes knows I'm serious on that. Fast forward to last year and the lab lived with us until she passed away. I don't like dogs, so I don't date men with dogs. It's that simple. I don't understand the people that see such a clear incompatibility and decide that they'll just force the person to change. Oh, that's easy, because they don't see it as an incompatibility. They see it as, we're so perfect together except for this one thing, and decide that it can be negotiated. They're usually narcissists who don't see animals or kids as living things, so they think it's just a simple issue and their partner will get rid of their pet or kid and can't understand the emotional connection. It was either I blindly accept the baby she was pregnant with was mine, or have her take a DNA test and have her leave. The DNA test confirmed I was not the father. Oh, I always wondered how much Maury paid for being on the show. What are we looking at? All the pain of the show guests with any of the notoriety of being on the show, unfortunately. An ex once told me that I needed to get a lower paying job so I made less than him or we were over, as it was wrong for me to make more than the man in the relationship. I told him to have the life he deserved. Never understood why people are turned off by a partner making more money than them. I would love to have a sugar mama. While not exactly my dream situation, my wife makes less than one half what I make, but we pretty much live off of my salary and use her salary to fund vacations and nights out, so it's kind of like having one. I make like 0.63 per hour more than my husband and he calls me his sugar mama. I think it's hilarious. Edit to change less to more. Oops. It was simple for me. I broke up with him because he wanted me to get rid of my cat for no reason. He wasn't allergic. Don't care what happened with him after that. I came here to say this. You love that damn cat more than me. It's me or him. Well, I'd had the cat for 7 years. I've known him 3 months. I had the cat until he passed at 17. Roaring here at the idea of some guy you've known 3 whole months demanding you give up your pet, 'cause he's jealous. While not my own story, I met a guy who had left his wife after she said it was either her or his red-tailed hawk. Dude was living in a single wide in Auburn, WA, so clearly he had made his choice. I had a geology teacher in high school who was given the "it's me or your hawks" ultimatum by his wife. Guy chose the birds. Within a year the hawks had died. I've never seen a more broken man's skeptical smiley face. I told my ex it was me or the drugs. 3 days later he killed himself. So, that happened. I really hope you know it's not your fault. Must have been hard. It's been 9 years and I still struggle with it. There's the logical side of me that knows I am not responsible for his decision, then there is the emotional part that will always wonder if I had done things differently would he still be here. We had 2 healthy kids. Second one almost died in childbirth and it freaked me out. I said I wanted a vasectomy. She said it's a 3rd kid or divorce. I came from a broken family and couldn't leave my kids. We had a 3rd. It was huge and wrecked her pelvic floor and our finances, which is what I was afraid of. So now we are broke, but we have 3 beautiful kids I adore. I love my wife, she is an amazing mother, but I'll never love her as much as I used to, because now I know I'm expendable. This is low-key the saddest story in the thread. I have a friend in a not too dissimilar situation and even from a distance I can see how it's consuming him. I sincerely hope you are able to find peace with your situation. Low-key, this is easily the saddest thing I've read in months, excluding world events. We have 1 kid together, born 2 weeks prior to the full lockdown from COVID happened. She wants another. I am stretched thin enough with the one I love dearly and I do not want a second. She's leaving our 16-year relationship to try and find a partner to have another baby before time runs out. I'm wrecked and good Christ almighty I don't know how you do it. This is exactly it. This resembles my experience. Even down to hearing how her time was running out. DM if you need support. Came home from overseas and was basically a hermit. She tried for months to let her get me a dog. I finally said okay. She got a huge ass dog. To my surprise, it helped me greatly. Fast forward a year, she doesn't want the dog on furniture, then she didn't want the dog in the bedroom, then she had me take the dog out the front door to walk around to the back, we had a back door, then she wanted the dog confined to the laundry room and the final thing she said was, it's either me or the dog. We had been together for 11 years, married for 8. I said where are the boxes, I'll help you pack. The best part, I now live with my girlfriend and it's where that dog came from winking face. The last sentence makes it sound like you're dating your dog's mom. That bitch. I'm also dating the guy who gave me the cat that my ex begged for and then refused to take care of. When new guys started coming over, you could tell my cat had missed him. She loved his smell so much she would bury herself in his armpit LMAO. My ex-husband begged for a ferret against my wishes, then got mad when the ferret actually bonded to me more because I fed, cleaned, and played with it. My ex was so adamant that we had to move to Florida, never minding the fact I was gainfully employed in a very specific niche that doesn't exist that often, so it would have been incredibly difficult to find a similar position. Not to mention they were unemployed. Eventually she pulled the, I'm moving to Florida with or without you, so I took the out and stayed in California. She begged to come back a year later and had to take a job in Alaska since she had no income and needed something that would hire with a living quarter on site. What was so great about Florida? Not op, but not a damn thing. Someone she met online convinced her her field would make so much more money than working in LA, there were no taxes anywhere, and the weather was nicer. She thought he was serious and didn't care for me pointing out he thought he was getting himself a new pet project. I grew up in a tiny dead-end town in the American South. My high school girlfriend told me she wished I was a bum, her words, who wasn't going to go anywhere because she didn't see herself ever leaving. I was leaving the state to go to college. So it was either her in that dead-end town or a life out in who knows where. I couldn't get out of that place fast enough. She's still there 3 decades later. Honestly, that's really sad that she couldn't see herself getting out. You made the right choice. I mean, maybe she really liked it there. To each their own. If you're happy somewhere and all your family is there, why leave? I left my hometown years ago, but I don't think that makes somehow better than the people that decided to stay and enjoy the place. I lived in a small rural city in hours from anywhere. I had dreams and plans to travel the world. My boyfriend had never even been to the city. We split on good terms. I traveled the world, he got married and had a baby in our hometown. Worked out good for everyone. She wanted me to move across the country. We met on a summer after senior year organized trip for 2 months, enjoyed each other's company, but the logistics just didn't work out. I could have taken 6 to 12 months off of college to transfer closer to her, but decided to go to my dream school and be closer to my family. Where I ended up meeting my now wife, and things have been pretty okay. Just pretty okay. It's solidly decent. From a guy, that's high praise. She had a tendency to call me when I was out with my friends and would lose her shit if I didn't drop everything and go see her. Eventually, she said, "It's either me or your friends." My mate suddenly grabbed my phone, hung up on her and said, "There, you're welcome." I agreed with the decision. My friends chose me and they're still my friends over a decade later. I have no regrets. That's a real friend. A very rare thing in this world.